Oh, that's how that works. Cool. Hello, humans.
Hello.
Welcome to Audio Face. This is an irreverent podcast about the music news and music culture that mostly matters. I haven't done that in a minute. So I'm Dan.
I'm Sean.
um, names as we're below, as you see them, they are there. It's
Oh
been a
shit.
week. It's been a week. I can take it off, but I think it's very funny. I think you should just do like a gag title every single time.
I will.
But anyways,
Please hire me, United.
yeah. So, anyways, please. And that's how Sean got relegated to Sky West.
That's how you upgraded a captain and is still there.
Dude, I came up with a really great arbitrary scale because of Google rabbit hole I was on today, just like because that's how I relax now. But yeah, the arbitrary scale is going to be defunct airlines. This is gonna be one of those classic episodes. We gotta really
Dude, that needs shit. We should have said that for a 5-albumer because you don't even know the airline that I know about, dog. You don't even you'll be like, that was an airline. I'm like, yes, it was, sir.
We can absolutely revisit this as we have with blimp accidents. So
Blimp accidents is goated, but this might be this is still S tier
though. We're almost at the point where we can do arbitrary scale noted little bitch nominations or nominees.
Because we absolutely could. We got 7 years of them bitches.
Yes. But on this podcast, on this episode, we have some singles we're going to be talking about. It's a very interesting time for the game called Rap, as it is. And then, of course, we have our 3 albums that we do. We review 3 albums generally. We have Wall of Eyes by The Smile, Secret Radiohead. We have People Who Aren't There Anymore by Future Islands. And then we have Sadness Sets Me Free by Gruff, Rhys. Sad boy, introvert, heaven, paradise. Like, this is like the holy trinity. Like, all you need is like a Death Grips record, and like men are solved for like the rest of for just in this week alone.
That's all we need. We're good.
Yes. Before we get into that, fortunately or unfortunately, we have some singles, hot new singles in your area, and obviously everyone's talking about the big Megan Thee Stallion, versus Nicki Minaj kind of beef and drama that's going on. And I'm definitely going to get to that in a moment, but I'm going to be starting with the song Facts by Tom McDonald featuring Ben Shapiro. Why am I doing Dan? No, you might be going, Dan, please stop. This show is not supposed to be about politics. Your Ben Shapiro obsession does not need to eke into every single thing here. I'm like, no, terribly, because we do a music podcast.
He entered our world.
Yeah. And so it's important. Why I'm talking about it before the Megan Thee Stallion Nicki Minaj thing, more on that later. But yeah, Ben Shapiro's new anti-woke rap single called Facts. It's Tom McDonald, who's like one of those MAGA rapper type people. We live in hell. Makes the song, Ben Shapiro features on it, and he's actually rapping. He's actually, and again, remember, this is the guy who said that rap is crap and that's not.
Yeah, rap music is nothing. Like, it's not me. Rap music is not music. It's awful. Only like classical music is music.
And because I'm an atheist, Ben Shapiro's song about hip hop and rap is now the top on the Apple Music charts in hip hop and rap. Which is like, I think I'm just going to share that anecdote, especially when we do our state of the music industry conversation, when I'm talking about rap music, because I'm just like, we're done. The ship has sailed. It's Christian rock and this. Like, we're done. We can't do this anymore. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting lyrics in there. It's not really that, clever or great or good. Yeah, we'll put some part of it in that thing. It's
dog shit.
Oh yes, yeah. I actually am bearing the lead. It's
bad.
Is it better or worse than anything Tim Pool has made? That's a thinker, right? I think they're pretty neck and neck, right? Like, this would be a Game 7 series.
That's that's 9 rounds right there. That's like, you both have broken noses, cauliflower ears, you're bleeding out of your eyeballs, but you're still hitting at it.
I'm going to hell because I thought totally something different when you said rounds. It's gonna. um. Yeah. What's one lyric? You're going to prison. I'm on television. Dog. No one knows who you are. Keep hating me on the internet. My comment section all woke Karens. Like I'm just. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Step
The
on
fact.
some
I mean, like,
toes.
yes, this is like an astroturf thing because if you get like every conservative person to seek out this kind of song, it will like shoot up to the charts like this.
Of course.
So it's a little bit kind of too much to say that Ben Shapiro's dancing on the grave of rap music as a genre. Although that being said, 50 years into this great game, and boy, that's never been rougher. I think Shapiro put it best. He liked to thank God, Tom McDonald, and his parents for putting him through 15 years of classically trained violin so that he could be the #1 rapper in the country.
Yep.
I gave him one. All right, that's fine. But I guess maybe he's evolved on his rap is crap thing. So I once again will never have any reason to debate Ben Shapiro.
No.
Anyways, oh yes, you ready?
Let's do it.
We have rap beef.
Rap beef, nigga.
Punk ass,
Jerry Toll, nigga, big ass nigga.
Stomp him
in the nuts. I'ma stomp him in the nuts. Stomp him in the nuts. I'ma stomp him in the.
Oh yes, it's been way too long since we gotten to crack that one out, but gotta like blowing it like a Nintendo cartridge. This is Hiss by Megan Thee Stallion. You may know her. She has, I think this might be one of her first releases since the finality of the Tory Lanez case. This is, in a context where she says it in the beginning of the record, right? Like she is coming out really hard and she's making references to like Mariah Carey versus Justin Timberlake in the 2000s and like how much of a slaughter that was. Like there's a lot of heat that's coming out in this. There's a lot of shots that are fired. I think the one that's probably gotten most across the bow and made it seem, okay, this seems very owned in on certain people here, was the line, "You're not mad at Megan, you're mad at Megan's Law." Megan's Law, of course, referring to sex offenders, and Nicki Minaj's husband being not allowed within a certain amount of distance of schools. So that's that, and that's in the song. In addition to
playgrounds.
Yeah. If the park has a slide, it's a little iffy. So it's got to be like it's a bench only kind of situation. Like a bench park, that's fine, but like anything else, it's a little.
And, if it has like one of those with like little spinny wheelies.
Yeah,
you can't go there.
Yeah, I got to keep like 200 feet at least. Anyways, so that seemed like a very clear shot against the bow to Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj has, is no stranger to controversy and getting into rap beefs. Oftentimes she's sort of just shadowboxing with herself. And she, of course, jumped at the opportunity. She's previewed a diss track. There's probably going to be a diss track out by the time we're through this. And like, I don't know, are we going to go point for point here, or is someone going to deal like you can have a rap beef that, goes into months and gets extended. And you can have one of those like Tupac Biggie rap beefs that just becomes lore. And honestly, that's what hip hop needs right now. This is what the game needs in a selfish kind of way. But this could also turn into like a no Vaseline story of Adidon thing, where one of them just goes straight for the throat with some brand new information delivered very, very well. So it's interesting. Like I think, yeah, these beefs are going to happen, and Nicki Minaj is no stranger to it. I just don't think that Nicki needs to be responding or making this whole big deal about it, because she's being Nicki Minaj. She's gone on streaming websites I've never even heard of before to go on live and complain about Megan Thee Stallion in like the 2 days since this song has gone out. Like she's gone over the deep end again, because this is what she does with, again, like on Tuesdays, but also in points of conflict.
Right. Yeah. It's like, the thing too is I feel bad for Megan Thee Stallion a bit too, because of the whole getting shot in Tory Lanez incident, all of that, and like the flack and stuff that she's gotten over that incident and just speaking up about it and everything. It's like, she already had to go through enough with that, and then having to deal with everything on that, and then just this whole beef is it's just Nicki Minaj being Nicki Minaj, and also having a terrible, shitty husband too. Like
It's
who
really tough.
literally has to register because he got convicted of, bad stuff in the 90s. On paper, on the record.
There's an if then statement that comes to mind, but I'm just gonna leave that aside. I think it's fair game. Nicki Minaj is gonna come back. I think there's gonna be some comment about calling her Bigfoot or something. And Nicki Minaj has also made references to Bigfoot. She also made references to Megan Thee Stallion in the past, like talking about riding a horse, I think in some song that came out last year too. So, rap beef is kind of good for the game. I'm down to see it, especially because, Nicki Minaj just came off of releasing one of her best records in her career, and it was a solid rap record. Megan Thee Stallion's kind of been a little bit lighter when it comes to releases. Her last album was okay. It didn't really sell that well, like get that
couple years ago, right? It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. It didn't get a lot of playtime or have a lot of staying power, I think, right? But even though Megan Thee Stallion as an artist has, and so I think basically what I'm trying to say is that these are two top rappers in their game, not just female rappers, top rappers in the game right now.
Right.
If they're beefing, it's going to be lyrical, it's going to be gruesome, it's going to be HBO. It's gonna be great. Absolutely. Honestly. Yeah. We just gotta see how long we can milk this for. I'm sorry, this is a pro rap beef podcast most of the time.
Absolutely, it's always a pro rap beef
until it gets upgraded to a nigga moment, because then it's just gets violent. Oh, what's up?
My headphones just reset, so it's fine.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So yeah, why'd I do this whole singles thing? Because throughout all of this, that Ben Shapiro song outcharted the Megan Thee Stallion releasing a diss on the same day. That is, again, for the rap world, that's kind of insane, but it goes to show how you can astroturf these kinds of streaming numbers for people like Ben Shapiro. But Nicki Minaj actually congratulated Ben Shapiro on being #1 in the rap charts, which is Did we ever really
what I put my 2024 bingo card?
Yeah, I was just like, wow, that's what? I don't know what was more unbelievable at first. Just the premise of Ben Shapiro releasing a real rap song that wasn't actually a parody, even though it's as bad as parody.
It's actually him, which is hilarious.
Or Ben Shapiro releasing that song and getting a Nicki Minaj cosign. Because yes, that's petty on Nicki Minaj's behalf, because that means it's outdoing Megan Thee Stallion song. But also, Ben Shapiro and Megan Thee Stallion have a little bit of history, some wet ass P word history, mind you. And Ben Shapiro even mentions WAP in the song. So,
oh god,
full circle audio face, man. I'm just we tried to do this show so that we're not doing something political. And here we are talking.
They just come for it. They want the smoke.
Nicki Minaj is in The Hill, like the political paper right now. I'm just what are we doing, man? I don't know. Thankfully,
we live in an Onion article. That's what it is.
That's so good. Yes, we live in an Onion article where the joke's never ending.
Yeah, exactly. Your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
Yeah, we shall see how that happens. Rap beef is good. Anyways, as we move on to the next, actually our first album review of the day, we have Wall of Eyes by The Smile, 8 songs, 45 minutes long. The Smile barely needs an introduction. They're a relatively new band with Tom Skinner, I believe, and then Tom York, and then Johnny Greenwood. And their first record, which is, it's fairly different from this one, but as different as when something has that sort of audio fingerprint, right, of a Tom York or a Johnny Greenwood sounding track. And like you definitely get that. Like if you think, oh, okay, so it's like a Radiohead thing with the same like guitarist as like Tom York's probably going to be like wailing a lot and saying like sarcastic things and all that stuff. And you're like, yep, absolutely, that's exactly what's going to happen. And things are going to be in weird measures and time signatures, and it's going to be kind of trippy and like a shoegazy kind of way. And like, yeah, it's exactly what you would expect, which is kind of what I liked about and what we liked about the other Smile record as well. This one, I think I was kind of impressed with how it's definitely the Smile, and it's also distinct as a record, because I could have just made like a repeat of their first record.
Yeah, they could have.
I genuinely feel like this isn't.
Yeah, they could have made a light for attracting attention. Like my worry was they were touring with some of these songs, right? Like, and we actually heard them when we went to the show. Bending Hectic and I think Read the Room were both played. And side note, with this being 8 songs, I think there was 2 songs that I heard during live shows and stuff that they didn't put on this record that I was surprised they didn't. And I thought one of them, especially, I can't remember the name of it, I thought would have fit perfectly in the record. That's kind of like my only disappointment, was that they didn't put that song in there. I don't know if it's just they didn't feel like it or what, but
Greasing the runways for the Smile 3.
Exactly. I mean, just tease me for some more Smile. We'll never say more. I was never saying no to more Smile.
Which is also sort of like, I don't know what we were expecting from this part of like the Radiohead boys in the 2020s. And I think we've talked a lot about how artists, even musicians, lose their style and they lose their luster, and like they have to like try to reinvent themselves, and they usually fail doing that as they age and mature. I mean, you have Kanye, you have Drake, you have a lot of different folks, right? You have Damon Albarn.
I was at Damon Albarn because look at that last Blur record was not that great, right?
Yeah, and Gorillaz projects have felt recently phoned in, but Tom York and Johnny Greenwood, in addition to scoring films and doing all these other different projects they're also doing, they're able to continue to reinvent and reshape themselves in almost like a chameleon-like way for whatever needs to be done, with a pretty remarkable like hit rate. Like there's never been like really terrible like project.
Like, I don't want to listen to this. No, like, and the thing that impressed me too is with being this close and some of these songs being on tour, I was worried. I'm like, is this like Kid A and Amnesiac, right? Where it's like Kid A and Kid B, is this a light for attracting attention too? No, they are very different records in the way that they're paced, the way that they're constructed, the style. And now what I'm even thinking of too is the Smile have their own sound. It's different from Radiohead. It's different from Tom's solo work. It's different than Johnny's solo work, another project that he's been a part of, because they're playing different instruments than they normally play. Right. So Tom's playing bass. Johnny plays bass. Right. Like they switch on and off on that. The drummer, Tom Skinner, has a completely different drumming style than Philip Selway. And if like Nigel Godrich is producing, and well, I mean, he produces all these records because he's a fucking amazing producer. And with this was the time where like now I actually feel like I could say what the Smile sounds like. And it's really cool that they do that because, as you kind of alluded to earlier, they're really reinvent themselves. They are always trying to sound like try something different, try something new. They're always inspired by something. And I feel like, this is some of their best work, and they're, the latter years of being artists. And this album it grew on me. At first listen, I was like, I don't know, because I really didn't know what to expect. It's kind of jazzy. It's more airy. And what I was actually talking to my dad about it, because friend of the show, Punch, fucking loves this record. He's like, dude, this is really, really good. And he texted me. It was funny about it. And I was like, I love it. So then I told him today, I'm like, you know what it sounds like? It reminds me of is In Rainbow's Disc 2 in a way, with how it's like more airy, more like kind of stripped back in the way, more has a lot of jazz themes and influences, which Tom and Johnny are both really influenced by that a lot in their music. And you hear that on tracks like Telharmonic, Under Your Our Pillows, Friend of a Friend.
Telharmonic is like absolutely beautiful as well.
That track is just chef's kiss. It's beautiful. It's haunting. The bass line on it, everything. And like, it doesn't sound like Radiohead in a way. Like this wouldn't fit in any like Radiohead project. And
yeah, exactly.
Whereas I feel like maybe some of it for attracting attention, you can kind of put it into it. With Wall of Eyes, like, no, this is the smile. It's its own completely separate thing, and I love that. I feel like now I have um that line in the sand, that line drawn of what do they want to do, instead of just kind of having a one-off. But now it's like, oh no, they want to like create their own little thing, and I love that they do that. And you can
Yeah.
tell too that like they love this shit, which is awesome.
Oh, especially when you see them live, which I highly recommend folks
Oh,
do.
amazing
Sean and I
live.
have seen them live. Have you seen them twice?
No, I only saw them once. So
Yeah, okay, same. I'm
no, you
sorry.
saw them
I've seen
twice.
them
You
twice.
asshole.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, they just really enjoy themselves. And that's not to say that they didn't enjoy themselves in Radiohead and that they don't,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And
just
the future
I
of
feel
that's
like
still like
they don't
up
have
in
the
the air.
pressure of Radiohead in that regard. Like they're free to do what they want. They're free to experiment. Example, like Read the Room has this really weird guitar loop, right? That's like almost off-putting, but it works once everything comes together. And it's like they're just trying different things and having fun being musicians and creating art, which is what I love. And that's what the whole damn thing's about.
Yeah, this definitely, like I described it as shoegaze a little bit earlier, kind of, because yeah, it is airier. It
Yeah.
goes on a little bit more. It's definitely not quite that, and it has that, Tom York. Like I said, if you've heard of Radiohead before, you will feel very at home with this. And I like your comparison of, some of the back catalog things of 2000s Radiohead,
Yeah.
right as they were getting, that Hail to the Thief, best Radiohead album still, to like In Rainbow's era. And yeah, they were doing a lot of really jazzy things. They were doing a lot of slower stuff like that, because similarly with the release of Kid A and that sort of era and the albums like encircling that, Radiohead was similarly free to reinvent themselves sonically in every single record. And like you said, there's a lot of pressure, because you got, Christ, we're looking at 30 years now of that Radiohead brand and like what it represents. And so by doing something as The Smile, it's not necessarily lower stakes, because these are still like great names you have on here, but the expectations of someone like Sean or I, who might come in with Radiohead level expectations,
Right.
can genuinely like be surprised and like down to go for the ride of this more experimental project for everyone involved, which I think is, again, if you're going to change as you mature and grow as an artist, this is one of the better ways I think I've seen it executed recently.
Absolutely. Yeah, just a really good album through it all. I mean, you have one of my favorite tracks that they've ever made, which is, there's only two bands I will say that I allow to have a track be 8 minutes long, and that's if you're affiliated with Radiohead in any way, or Sigur Rós. Those are only two I give them granted. You can make an 8-minute track, and Benning Hectic.
Oh, I can lawyer that.
It's fine. That's what this podcast is for. But Benning Hectic is such a beautiful, amazing track that, like, seeing it live and stuff was just amazing. It like builds and builds and builds, and you get this beautiful grunge sound, which you never hear them do. Like they really like stay away from that, and to put that at the second to last song of the album is perfect placement, because it has this beautiful pickup before our last track, You Know Me, exclamation point. And it's just, it really solidifies like the end of the record and everything. And where I had complaints of A Light for Attracting Attention with the placement, and I felt like it was kind of a little too stop go-ish with Wall of Eyes, I feel like I really wouldn't touch a thing on it. Even with Wall of Eyes being a slower opening track, I think it fits it perfectly of what you're kind of getting yourself into with the project and the record. And I really, really like the execution of this. Again, I think they found their footing. They found what they want with this band, the direction they want to go, and be like, hey, this is who we are. This is what The Smile is. So
yes, and I think they've also established themselves with this second record. I'm not really going to call it their second record curse or like apply that standard, because of these are, let's be real, these are musicians who have made like many second and third albums under many different projects
that are all better than your favorite artist's favorite record.
Dude, I have more playtime on Atoms for Peace than I do pretty much almost like most rap. Like Atoms for Peace alone.
Can we make Adams for Peace 2, please? Just one day.
No, yeah, I would trade 3 Damon Albarn projects for an Adams for Peace 2.
Please.
Get Flea back together. Let's get him on the protein powder. Let's get him touring. Tom and him can share skirts. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. Like old times.
It's like old times. It's all really beautiful, and yeah, there's also funny aspects to it. Like we have multiple resignation related songs in this episode of the show, but one is just like I Quit in there. It's just, it's Tom York's sardonic, funniness that made him charming even in the creep days, right?
Mhm.
And it's still kind of, there
Still
and
there.
matured, and I think, like as he said, aged like a fine wine. So
Yes. In the
Really
words of Tom,
well.
in the words of Tom during one of the shows that we went to, he goes, "We get better with age." It's just
Yeah,
great.
and I also forget that Tom is very he's kind of doing audio face whenever he's performing live, because when we saw Radiohead, he was like, "Oh, thank God we're not doing Coachella," because this was when they were doing 2
Yeah,
weekends of
that's
Coachella.
right. That's
And then
right.
they went up a weekend to Northern California and Berkeley, and that's where we saw Radiohead right after A Moon-Shaped Pool had come out, or like
Yeah.
in that tour cycle. So it is much. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going on and on. This is just a really good record.
It's a great record. I'm pleasantly surprised, honestly, with it. I was honestly expecting A Light for Attraction 2, and I got Wall of Ice. I got a separate record, 2 distinct projects, even though they're less than 2 years apart.
Yeah, refined too. Like no filter, like no filler.
No filler, nothing at all. Like again, all of the complaints I feel like that both of us had for A Light of Attracting Attention, Wall of Eyes has just said, "Yeah, fuck it. We're just gonna make a good record. Here you go."
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Usually we get to at least one point where we really like a record and we're able to like really nitpick it. And I think, yeah, it's definitely something that it benefits from being in the lore of Radiohead to kind of enjoy from that perspective a little bit more. But I think it's also just generally good music to have in the background. That's a little bit challenging because it's not like 4/4 time signature. And
Yeah, it's really,
Tom
some of
York.
it's really like Read the Room Under Our Pillows. The Johnny loves to fuck with his guitar now and do this really patented looping trick that only he really makes that sound, and it's definitely different and hard to listen to. But when everything kind of comes in, especially when a crescendo's in the middle, then it all makes sense.
Yeah. Good album. Good week in music. The world is very weird, but the music is
Music is
very
amazing.
good.
2024 year music is just
That's always the correlation, and we've done it really well. Is that like the
bad year,
absolutely more unhinged a year gets, like
the better
the music is.
Absolutely. Like look, 2018, dog shit year, lots of shit going on. 2024 is becoming a 2018 real fast.
Oh yeah,
all
like
we
this
need
is
the Voids might be coming out with something, and we got MGMT coming out next month. It's just keep it coming. Just keep it coming. Let's go.
Damon, don't fucking ruin this for me.
Damon, don't ruin this. All we need is a random surprise Last Shadow Puppets, and then like I'll retire.
We're getting Burial. We're getting
That's right.
Justice.
We're getting Burial. We're getting just.
The real is back. The villain is back.
I'm not ready.
I almost got a Coachella ticket just to be able to see Justice. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna put myself through. They will perform their own shows, and that'll be the closest I'll get to being able to see something like Daft Punk alive.
Yep.
We will be going to that. Yes. Is that arbitrary scale? We do arbitrary scales every week on Audio Face because our review is our review rather than certain other Audio Face outlived Pitchfork. Other than
we've lasted longer than Pitchfork. That's great.
I mean, not actually lasted longer because of course Pitchfork was like older than has been existing around
30 years.
But yeah, whoopsie. We do arbitrary scales because rather than give you a ranking system or a number system that is arbitrary anyways, we tell you how we feel about an album, and then we apply a random ranking system to underscore the point that you can't really rank these albums this way. Hi, Squishmallow Dragon in chat. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. What's up with you? This is going to be... Oh, this week's arbitrary scale. So I don't have the link, but we can just do this one off the dome.
Oh, I already got mine.
Yeah, this is the arbitrary scale is defunct airlines. So, what is this for you?
Absolutely Trans World Airlines, dude. Like fucking absolutely no context. TWA, dude. Like just solid TWA.
I'm gonna give this Air Jamaica
Air Jamaica, that's a good one.
because absolutely doomed from the start, but they were cooking like Jamaican food on those planes. Like it was. That's why those planes were so late all the time because, well, A, stereotypes, and B, because they're cooking. And by stereotypes, I mean, but never mind. I'm not gonna.
No.
Call
just-
811 before you dig. Call 811 before you dig. Yeah, didn't expect me to hit you with Jamaica Air, did you?
I did not. Yeah, I did not. That was great.
Anyways, let me. I need to queue up the next album. So, one second. But our next album is "People Who Aren't There Anymore" by Future Islands. It is 12 songs, 44 minutes long. And Future Islands have been around since the early 2000s.
Yep.
Right? Like we're kind of on that early wave of alternative synth music, like synth pop, and then like that kind of sound.
Yeah,
and
the
they
synth pops wave of the late 2000s ish sound. I mean, we did
not to be confused with like Torima and like Children.
No. That's totally different. No.
Yeah.
That's more put me thinking the name. But anyways, but we reviewed As Long As You Are, their 2020 record, which it's crazy. That was 4 years ago. I remember really enjoying that record, and I gave it another listen last week, and I was like, I forgot how much I actually enjoyed that record too. 2020 had some pretty damn good albums. Again,
yeah,
the correlation, bad years of the world means good music.
Yeah, you really can't. Yeah, I'm thinking about As Long As You Are when we were talking about that, and you can't sleep on Future Islands. Like,
no,
in some ways, like you sort of can, literally, because just some of the music that they make is a little bit not like bad or boring, but it can be calmer. It's like more soothing in that way. Sorry, ambulance passing by me, but I wouldn't say, we didn't put like Future Islands on like best of the year or whatever, but they were definitely making like, they would be worth an honorable mention. Like, they make pretty good albums. They have been consistently.
Yeah, and with, I don't know what's going on with my sound right now. There we go. Got it.
Oh no, yeah, you sounded fine. I was just trying to mute myself while the worst of whatever fire engine was passing by.
Yeah, no, it's my headphones. They keep like disconnecting and reconnecting for some reason. That happened at the Make the Stallion stuff earlier too. But anyways,
oh no, I mean I can kind of continue, but like with people who aren't there anymore, you get, I think, the best of how this band has kind of come together right now.
Yes.
You get the powerful like lead vocals. I forget his name, but like his voice has just matured very well into that, like, just as much as he's singing, he's sort of like speaking. It's sort of like spoken word to a certain point, because I have a really good just have like a really good way of telling a story and working through lyrics.
Right.
So yeah, it starts off with King of Sweden, The Tower, and it's just genuine. It's, again, I wouldn't say slow, but it's a little bit like not like fast paced in tempo. And you do have some like faster tempo songs too, but it's, I'd say it feels, again, I want to say muted, but I don't want that to be like a bad connotation, right? Like, I don't mean like it's in a bad way. It's really well produced. It's really well good. And I'm well good. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just it's really true indie alternative with the way it sounds, right? Like, it's that style, adding synths to it, adding like example, the opening track, King of Sweden, right, is a perfect alt rock, indie rock style sound that I really enjoy, but it's still modern enough to fit in 2024. So it's that like more understated tone and everything. Like it's sometimes that you put it in the background, and most people will enjoy it in some way, in some fashion. And with pretty much the whole record, you get that. It's you get a lot of like different synth sounds. Like with the tower, I really like that song, the second track. I thought it was fantastic. I think it's one of the best things that Future Islands have put out in the last couple albums. And with this is you get kind of an older-ish sound, but modernized in a way, because with a lot of all and indie that we've been getting has been more grunge focused and everything else. We really haven't been getting more of this synth synth mixed with alternative rock. And I'm glad that they went with this direction, because we get a lot of bedroom pop sounds, a lot of grunge sounds, a lot of other things where we've been saying, and I've been saying it before too, State of Music last year, where I'm like, it's like that needs to change. And you've been hearing it here or there, but with this record, I think with people who aren't there anymore, it's really now advancing a sound that was kind of stuck in 2014, right? 2015 almost, where it's been kind of played out a bit, drawn out, and that's why people really haven't gone back to that sound. But Future Islands are one of the pioneers of them, them, maybe Two Door Cinema Club and a couple others that have made and like really defined the sound of the early 2010s. Now they need to try to get in the modernize it, get in the game again. And Future Islands have done that with this record. And I feel like them, even like the National did that with their record a couple years ago too, and a couple others. You had Big Red Machine, which I think was a fantastic project. I hope they do something again as well. Those guys are putting out good records, and Future Islands are up there. And I think this record, like top to bottom, I've really enjoyed it. You are muted, sir.
That's
There you go.
fun things. But yeah, I think that muted. That's karma right there. I really like the way you just described that dynamic with Future Islands, is that it got to a point where any kind of young, scrappy, like on a label, but like, not a major artist who was doing an alternative indie sound was doing some iteration of like what Future Islands, I think, Two Door Cinema Club, a lot of folks like that had been doing for a long time. I think Metronomy is also like a good example as well. They now in this point where rock and alternative, similarly to hip hop and rap, you are needing to constantly evolve them and constantly like change them out a little bit. So when you get songs like Say Goodbye, where you couldn't really imagine Future Islands making that sort of song the way it sounds and how it's like functions and works and presents. It's a really like fun one, especially for like being 3 minutes long on this album with like really meaty tracks as well. I think Give Me the Ghost Back right after it is like really beautiful. Then as you get throughout like Iris and The Fight and Peach, which is a really stellar one to have in the middle of the record, which I don't think is full of filler necessarily, but I think the middle of the record can get a little bit like that thing they do with chip bags where they just put a lot of air in it and it's like less chip. It's a little bit like that.
Okay, I get your criticism in that middle part of the record. I can get on board. It gets a little flat, if anything, but I think for somebody who's been around as long as Future Islands has been, and how far it's been since as long as you are, it's been 4 years. I think People Aren't There Anymore is a good project, and it fits in this decade and it fits in the sound. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. And yeah, he's just got a really beautiful voice that just has to come across really well.
Oh yeah.
What is his name? William? No.
Oh, you're trying to find
Samuel T. Herring. Yeah, Samuel T. Herring. Yeah. It works really, really well with this. It's getting to that point where it's like, yeah, he's narrating as well as also really singing, which is amazing. Yeah, this is a solid record. I recommend checking it out. This is Arbitrary Scale time. We do arbitrary scales every week on Audio Face because our review is our review. We're not going to give you a letter ranking system or a number ranking system. We already told you how we feel about that. and we already told you how we feel about the album. So we're going to give it a new ranking system. This week it is Defunct Airlines. This is Ransom Airlines, baby.
Ransom Airlines.
Yeah, that's pre 9/11.
Pre 9/11. All right. This is definitely the original Frontier Airlines.
Whew.
The OG Frontier Airlines went bankrupt, I think, in like the 80s or some shit like that, or 90s. And then this new one is fake Frontier Airlines.
Don't go it alone.
Nope.
Oh man. Did you see, speaking of almost defunct airlines, Spirit lives another day?
Dude, yes. Spirit lives to fight another day.
Meanwhile, JetBlue's like, oh no, I'm now the smallest like I am now an acquisition target, is basically what JetBlue is like.
Well, JetBlue got bought by Alaska, no?
No. That was Alaska bought Virgin America.
That was very okay. For some reason, I thought Alaska did something with JetBlue, but I wouldn't put it past Alaska. I think Alaska just bought Hawaiian, so there's that.
Oh my god. Well,
I know JetBlue wanted.
That's energy.
Yeah.
JetBlue
JetBlue wants all the brand new A321 Neos, so I don't.
Yeah, because they're doing those pond hoppers, because that's where they think they're gonna make their money since they have all East Coast bases. But yeah, I was reading about how this is the random airline part of the podcast, but we'll finish here. It was really interesting how, like, you know, United and American and Delta all did their big acquisitions over the past like 10, 15, 20 years, and JetBlue's just been like, yee. So that's why all those other airlines are like super big, and as you are obviously well aware of, like constantly needing help with pilots and, you know, charts and shit. Yeah, so that JetBlue just didn't get that kind of acquisition opportunity, so that was fascinating. Safeway Airlines, y'all just doing whatever the fuck, weren't you? Wow, these are just ridiculous names. Okay, San Francisco and Oakland Helicopter Airlines, the helicopter going in between San Francisco and Oakland Airport. Yeah, they don't need that anymore. Okay.
Ah, Jesus.
Lastly, it is Sadness Sets Me Free with
Yes.
Gruff Rhys. I don't even have that open.
It is 10 songs, 42 minutes long.
Thank you. Gruff Rhys?
Gruff Rhys?
Of Super Fast Jellyfish fame. No, I'm just kidding. But also, yes. Really interesting, also indie, I guess, artist. Really inspired by rock, but also really inspired by just like grand production and a number of different things outside of that. And I think you really get that distilled here in this song. In this album rather. Right. It starts with the title track, which is why I kind of like made that skip right there. Sadness Sets Me Free. And it's that track, but also everything else in this record is very autobiographical. It's a lot of like storytelling. He's being like very vulnerable and really like putting out those like feelings and emotions into those different things, while you're also layering it with like some of the most incredible production you'll find in some of these like random smaller, you know, artist releases that may not be on a lot of people's radars.
It's like you're putting movie production as the production throughout this record, like big string arrangements, brass arrangements and stuff.
Horns,
yeah. And I really like how it's done, actually. I feel like it's not overpowering. It complements it well, and it suits the music. It suits the lyricism of it, his voice as well. I actually enjoyed it. This is one of those, you know, why I like doing audio face, because we'll get artists that I've never heard of or I might not be super familiar of, and then I get a record where I'm like, I would never have found this any other way, really. And it's cool because then I go, oh well, it's I love getting records that surprise me in good ways, and this is one of those. I really enjoyed Sadness Sets Me Free. And then
which is just an objectively funny sentence.
Yeah, I know, right? I think that's just a great title. I love the the titles of all of these tracks throughout the record. I love it.
Oh
Celestial,
yeah,
Candy Floss,
you
dude,
can
great.
definitely tell like how a song like Super Fast Jellyfish came to be when Gruff Rhys is the other half of that song with there's De La Soul, of course, we can't forget.
Yes.
Rest in peace to Dave
Mhm.
Trugoy. Yeah. And there's also Gruff Rhys who's doing the super fast thing under Damon's voice.
Mm.
And so even that concept of uh us screwing up the environment so bad that we have like microwave jellyfish as like a meal, and that's just a mass produced thing. You also get similarly, almost even like a Tom York way, like these coy
Right.
fun titles. Like I told you we were going to do 2 quit related songs here. There's I Tendered My Resignation, which is also very interestingly in a similar spot in this album as it is with The Smile. So make it look like you didn't copy. I'm just kidding. But you just get really, silver lining lead balloons. They sold my home to build a skyscraper. Cover up the cover up. Like these is really, tongue in cheek
Yeah,
ideas and songs, and they're
they're
executed all
fun.
really well. Like there's very. It's funny. Again, you have the album called Sadness Sets Me Free, but there's fundamentally a lot of joy and reflection and I guess like peace with the self that you kind of get from this record and the contents of it. Not all of it's even necessarily, Gruff presumably talking about himself. It's just, different experiences, different things. Cover Up the Cover Up is like almost an Alex Jones rant. Like it's literally the songs like tear down the government, abolish the government.
It's just it's great.
It's like me 3 drinks into a party. But I think like on the far side of the dollar, the way even these weird turns of phrase turn into like really rhythmic things in these songs that it just plays out really well. I was impressed. Again, it's kind of I didn't have many expectations or like big expectations for it, so I was impressed what we got out of this. And I knew Gruff Rhys to be like relatively talented. I've dipped in here and there since Plastic Beach had come out, of course, because they used to be one of the better parts about reviewing a Gorillaz record was finding out like all these new artists that had kind of been curated for you and then going through their discography. So
Right.
I'd like some Gruff Rhys things. Definitely in the past, a lot of his work kind of sounded like not production wise, but definitely vocal wise, subject matter wise, a lot like Super Fast Jellyfish. So this is definitely a major, evolution of that. That said, I was listening to more of Gruff Rhys like in 2011, 2012, like just after Plastic Beach, and he's released many records since then, and it's 2024. So, naturally that has probably happened over a lot of time. I haven't listened to it the whole thing, to him the whole time, but any songs like this, I think On the Far Side of the Dollar is one that just like really stood out to me for being a really good song, being like really passionate and getting that passion from it, and also just having incredible production. Like I was actually, as I was walking and listening in my headphones, which like mind you, this is now how we're usually this is now how we're usually consuming music, is like listening on car speakers at best, but Bluetooth headphones or earbuds more normally. And sometimes I want to be an audiophile, but also I like that like I like that I'm listening to music the way most people are going to be listening to music anyways, right? So that's a thing. All that being said, to be able to get chills from the production of something when you're listening on like shitty Bluetooth earbuds just goes to like engineering and production quality, like the kind of stuff they give like Grammys for producing albums in and like engineering and mastering records for. Like that's what you give this record for, that it works in a number of these different settings and just sounds genuinely nice.
Yeah.
And it's not a sad record. It's really has a lot of happy points, has a lot of reflective points. Like it's really good.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful record. The way it's done with the string, the brass arrangements, you don't really get to hear that a lot. And if they are, they could be quite overpowering. I feel like a lot of people don't know how to arrange it well to suit a record, to suit a specific sound they want. And Gruff Rhys did that on this record, and I'm impressed with it. I enjoyed it a lot. There's a lot of sounds, a lot of different things on this that they're going to take time to listen to. It's going to take several listens to really digest everything on that. And I love it when records give me that. I don't want to hear everything on one listen. I want to really be able to digest and get new things every time I listen to it. So, yeah, fantastic record. I impressed in 2024. Love it. Great year already.
Yes, truly. I'm giving bad luck. Hang on.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like, I was getting bad luck with
Yeah.
the sirens because like oftentimes like one of us is talking, or especially if I'm doing power report, like someone
Yeah,
else is
you can.
talking.
Yeah, so you can kind of mute it and be fine. Just great
Yeah,
timing.
which that's the risks and benefits of my otherwise enjoyable like beach breeze I get in the morning. It's just the window's so close to the street. Anyways, arbitrary scale. Do arbitrary scales every week on the show because our review is our review. We told you how we felt about this Gruff Rhys record, and we do everything on this podcast. We started with a little rap. We had a little bit of a rap beef here. For some reason, Ben Shapiro's making the music and Nicki Minaj is co-signing it. We have a secret Radiohead. We have Future Islands. We have Gruff Rhys. It's playing a lot of the hits today. This week, the arbitrary scale we're using is Defunct Airlines. Sean, what are you going to give this?
Solid U.S. Airways.
Whew. Those are the classics.
Good ones.
This is my Pan Am.
Pan Am's a good one.
Pan Am is one of the best
Pan
ones.
American, baby.
Pan Am, yes.
The airline that quadrupled down on 747s and lost.
Well, I think didn't they also run Concorde though?
No, it was only Air France and
British Airways.
British Airways that ran
Yeah.
Concorde. Those are the only two airlines.
That's right. Would you want to fly one of those?
Oh, dude, that was literally my dream. I would love to fly Concorde. Fuck.
The little Snoop
Sonic,
thing?
dude. The Jupe Snoop, dog. That's all I want. I just want to go Jupe Snoop, baby. Legendary. They don't make him like this anymore.
It's like, oh, I'm happy to see you. I'm sorry. I need to send you this list on Wikipedia, but like, oh, there used to be another Spirit Air that's also defunct.
Dude, you have no idea how long a list of defunct U.S. airlines is. It's like
I do. You want to know how small like my scroll bar is on the side of the page? It's like a dick hair's width. It's so
yeah,
tiny.
it's like hundreds and hundreds. It's amazing. It's awesome.
First of all, defunct airlines has to be organized by country, and then once you're in the country, like you go to the United States, and the article goes, for reasons of size, this article is broken down into 4 parts by alphabet.
Yes.
I've only, just for time, been in the Q to Z section.
Jesus.
And it still is Quaker City Airway. Okay, this has been Audio Fans. What are we doing?
God, what are we doing here?
Although I do love the idea that there was an entire airline dedicated to getting people to avoid using BART and just going from like SFO to Oakland.
That's amazing.
That's like, you do that kind of trip if like flying from San Francisco to Oakland, if you want some island in Southeast Asia to just collapse tomorrow. Like you want it to flood.
That
you
is
want to
the
expedite
most
it.
ridiculous thing in the world to do, especially like if you take a jet from SFO to fucking Oakland, like you have any idea how much of a pain in the ass that is? Like you'd have to do the whole ass departure procedure, because the departure procedure already takes you far enough. Just run. Just bleachers. Just go over the bridges. Just bleachers.
9-car train to Berryessa station in 10 minutes.
Ah, Miss Part.
It was a helicopter though, to be fair. So it
was a helicopter?
Like
Okay, that makes more sense. All right.
It's a little better.
All right, that's a little better. It's fine, but it's still ridiculous.
Reno Air and Reno Air Express.
Oh yeah, Reno Air. Yeah, Reno Air.
Yeah. Hell yeah. This has been why? Okay, sorry. Last one. Rhodes International, like the Rhodes Scholar, like Rhodesia. Rose International was an airline.
Beautiful.
This has been Audio Face, the premier podcast about blimp accidents and defunct airlines and occasionally music. You can check out all the things that we are doing at audioface.show and syndicate23.co. This has been Audioface. Don't find either of us on social media anywhere. It's not good for your brain anyways. Go outside, touch grass, be kind to someone, and you see you in the next one. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
How do I end the stream? I hit that button. Bye, stream.